So in the Bible, Ezekiel describes the angels, and I seen this video a while back. It's a popular video of them using AI to try to represent what the angels that Ezekiel was talking about like actually look like. Because when you look at the Bible and you see the description of an angel, because it says that angels have came down, right? And a lot of times they've came in like a human form. So when you look at them, they just look like a human. But there has been times where angels have came in different forms. And he describes it. And a lot of times they say, don't be afraid. And a lot of times they say that because they look like this. And I was like, imagine like having an experience of witnessing and like the angel. And if it's truly like this, like how terrified you'd be. You'd be hella scared. So I wanted you to watch this video. Let me put it on.
Who, with the one eye?
Well, I think a lot of times they describe one eye, but I think when I read the verse, I didn't see anything that said there was a big old eye in the middle. But it did say that there were eyes on his back, on his face, everything. And it did describe, because they described like 4 different ones. It described one that had multiple heads. And it had one of a human face. It had an eagle face. And it had, I think, a lion. And then it had a different face. But he said he had wings. And he said that it looked like they had human hands. And he said they were covered in eyes.
His whole body?
Yeah, his whole body. So this is the video that I seen, I think.
Sounds a little bit like drugs.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's look at the video. Yeah, this is a different one.
That shit hella loud. That shit banging in my ear.
That shit banging like my mixtapes.
Well, it seems like those are aliens though. They don't seem like angels. Why is it that when anytime that one thinks of an angel, you think of a human with wings? It's like I'm not sure if it's like it's like it's been taught since you were a kid. Any kid right now, if you tell them describe an angel, they're gonna describe a human with wings. And like a halo or something.
Yeah,
that's like the natural, like the description, the natural description for an angel, and yet, because you would think angels would be humans, right? Because if they're Jesus people, you would think people who die and go to heaven, you would think they'd be angels.
Well, I would think when I think about it, I think they'd be similar to us. And the reason why I say that is because God said, "Let us make man in our image." So I would assume that we would have similar, design. So
yeah, the only
God
thing
God way of looking, or God looks
in the just So like when people die and go to heaven, they become angels, or no?
I don't know about that.
Like, well, that's because what I always
thought. Like angels have a role, and from what I understand, there's different levels in heaven. Now I don't know, like I don't know enough to say that there's ranks or stuff like that. I don't know. So,
but you know how when you said Jesus' angels can come down, like and,
he had an army.
Yeah. So then when I think of that, I think of different. Like I think of like maybe angels are their own race. Like angels are their own race, and then for someone that's human that dies and goes to heaven, it's a different. You're labeled as a different. You're labeled like completely different. You're not considered an angel. Like angels are their own thing, and then that would make more sense that they wouldn't look like us.
But Ezekiel describes them like rings, right? He describes them rings and rings inside of rings. And he talks about how they didn't move it didn't turn as it moved.
But this all sounds like a spaceship. Like this alien, all these like one-eyed, shit coming from the sky. Especially people who are not from the modern world. All this, like if something came from the sky, people would think it'd be like gods.
Yeah, that's why.
Because what else comes from the sky? It's like they wouldn't understand anything. They wouldn't even be able to comprehend a different Earth.
That's what they talk about. It would be easy to deceive humans, and that's why they say about like the devil would do that in the end times, because the devil will perform miracles, and who else performs miracles? So that people would say, "Oh, that has to be God," right? That's why they say, I think, get to know God, you will know that's not him.
A miracle. You know how there's always like, you know how whenever somebody does even in movies or whatever, someone does makes a deal with the devil or makes a deal with something evil, it always like, at first they like, oh, what a good deal type shit, right? And then they always, at the end, they always regret it, or it always ended up like not being, there was like a trick to it. They were always deceived in some way to make them think that they had a good deal, but in the end they got railed, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody made a miracle, like I didn't know if the devil is capable of good.
You're saying if the devil is capable of good?
Yeah, like if he, like a miracle would be something good.
Well, he's a deceiver.
Oh, so you think it's good.
You would think it's good.
Oh yeah, then that makes more sense.
He's gonna deceive you. It's like people say that, I heard somebody say the angels look scary, but that's to scare off demons. And the demons look attractive, appealing to you, because they want you to come, right? They want to reel you in. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense when I think about it.
But why? But you like, naturally scary things are dangerous, right? Like naturally what you think is scary is usually because it's dangerous.
I think the majority probably times, yeah.
So like naturally you're gonna be fearful of these one-eyed aliens that come up to you, like naturally. But I feel like if there's anything God related, you'll feel like safe. If it's got anything to do with God, I would think that you'd feel safe, or you would feel like, no.
What do you think? He'll take the fear away from you?
It has to be something, because I don't think God will put fear in you just because. Anything with God seems good, pure.
But he's not putting fear in you. Fear is just a result of what you're seeing. He's not putting it on you.
Yeah, I know, but it's like he created that, whatever that is that you're looking at. So he would know that it would cause fear. It's like,
but I don't know if the intention is for
like,
humans on this realm to see that. Like they weren't designed for that purpose, strictly for humans to see it. That's why who knows what other. Who knows why God does what he does?
Like all these things that come down and like talk to people just remind me of people on trips, like on drugs.
Yeah, because I think you can't rationalize this, right? When you see something with that type of description, with 4 faces and has hands.
Yeah, you're on some type of psychedelic.
That's what you think.
Yeah, that's what you would see if you're on mushrooms or whatever.
Because he said, look, there's the verse number and everything. It says, each of the angels had 4 faces. The first was the face of an angel. The second was the face of a human. The third was the face of a lion. And the fourth was the face of an eagle. The angels rose. These were the living creatures that I saw in Chebar River. When the angels moved, the wheels moved beside them. When the angels lifted their wings to rise from the ground, the wheels didn't leave their side. When the angels stood still, the wheels stood still. When the angels rose, the wheels rose with them. The spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels.
And he's seen this one like in person, he says?
I haven't read this far yet. I went into it just to see of what people were talking about because it was a popular video, and I'm like, let me see if that's really what it described. And it seems to like similar. I don't know if I would say it's exactly right, but I would say it looks similar because he does say rings, and he said the whole thing was covered with eyes.
Who's Ezekiel?
He's a prophet of the Bible. He wrote.
That's his pre-Jesus.
Yes, this is Old Testament.
Oh, this is where they said that Ezekiel made the well or whatever. That was that one.
I'm not sure.
Remember how the well lady that you said really hit you, really stuck with you?
No, I didn't say Ezekiel. That was somebody else, I believe. If I'm not wrong.
Somebody had made that
Jacob.
well.
He said Jacob.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, I knew Jacob.
He said, I know Jacob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From the chosen.
Just because I don't know, Ezekiel, it sounds like a religious name. Like I sound like I've heard it somewhere, but I don't have no, like, I don't know who he was. It had to have been pre-Jesus because of the chosen. I don't remember. I think there is an Ezekiel in the chosen, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but imagine having like, I would often think about like how hard is it to understand that like God chose you to send his message through you. Like imagine if this is true, and then you're like, for the skeptics, right? Because I believe in it, but like if God said, I'm gonna choose you to spread my message through you, and you saw visions and you saw stuff like this that you can't explain, and you're writing them down, and imagine you being that person to witness it. You'll be like, what the heck is this, right? But obviously, if you see this, it would be, to me, in undeniable, like there's a God. If you're seeing things like this,
well, I would still be skeptical.
Well, even if you see this, the only thing you can portray it to is either good, evil, or aliens.
Yeah,
those are the only three.
Yeah, because I would question why me, and I would question what's the purpose of this message, and if there's like the message, like at the end after I wrote everything down and like studied it and came out with a conclusion
but it wouldn't just be one encounter; it would be multiple encounters.
But I would have to write everything down and then know, like it would be crazy because I wouldn't want to say nothing unless I'm 100% sure that it's a good thing, like it's a God thing. Because I'm like, what if I'm like, because I would always be like, why me, right? And I'd be like, what if the devil's like trying to use me to misguide people? Because I'm like, why the hell me? So then I would have to be 100% that it's not the devil. Yeah, but if it was aliens, I'll still say it, because I'll be like, look, there's more like aliens out there.
You would say that from the jump? That would be your first thing?
My first thing is to ensure there's no evil.
No, but the first thing, like as soon as it happened, how would you describe that? You would say aliens?
Well, if I just start seeing one-eyed whatever, and then people like, yeah, I would be like, what the fuck did I just take? I also took something strong.
What the heck?
That's number one. I'll make sure to go take blood work to make sure that I ain't got nothing in my system that like just to make sure like nothing got tampered with, no holes got inserted, nothing.
What the heck?
Like that first.
So I'm like, well, look, if it's good or evil, regardless, that shows proof of a God, right? So if this creature is
whether it's good or evil,
yeah, it's proof of a God. Because if it's evil, if there's evil, then there has to be good. Or do you think it's possibly we can live in a world that's all evil? Do you think it's possible that God can be evil? From your standing, where you're like,
I wouldn't see, but I would say everything God related to me is only good.
I know that's what
I already feels
know, like the belief, but I'm saying for like somebody who is still on the fence. Like me, 100% Jesus Christ is God. 100%, no denial. I would die that way. But it's like for somebody who's on the fence or is thinking about whatever, like, is it possible? Because I always say they always say either God's not all powerful or he's not all good. And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said that. Because he's like, how do you explain all these tragedies that happen and kids dying and baby with cancer, stuff like that. So that's the argument.
I don't. I mean, and I think is we can't understand that. There's
But I
things that
think
we can't understand.
If you, I just think a lot of people don't really like the explanation because it's like sin came in through the world through us. It's like because when you read the Bible in Genesis and it describes how everything was made, it says God made it good. So it was only after Adam's sin that sin entered the world and sin destroyed the world.
I think so. So evil really. I see. So then that makes sense. So then God, you know how you think like every emotion, every feeling is in God. That's the first thing that I start thinking of, right? So if God humor, right, anger, love, all this is in God.
Yeah.
Right. So then you're like, okay, so if everything is God, then that means the evil don't exist. Only exists if God allows it. Right. But He didn't create the evilness.
No.
We created it, but He allows it only. I remember you told me that if there is no,
it's the door. It's just free will.
Yeah, and if we had no free will, we'd just be slaves. Like we'd just be mindless if we had no free will.
And what's the purpose in creating a creature that has no say? Because then they say it's not true love, right? And there's a comment. What's his name? He always talks about the Bible. He always says this explanation of like, if you were dating a woman and then she said she loved you, you were dating forever for 3 months, right? You're like, this woman loves me, whatever. But then you find out that your dad has been paying her to supposedly be in love with you. You would be like, this woman don't love me, right? It would be like, it's not true love because love is enforced. Love is when somebody willingly gives you that to another person. Willingly. It's not forced. So if God forced that upon us, what would be the point? Like the whole point was to have it's because God respects us. He respects us so much that He lets them disrespect Him with the breath that He gives us. And that's how you got to think that's how good God is.
What's the end game? I wonder what the end game was.
Like what? What's the purpose?
Like pre-humans. There must have been there must have been like some type of thought or conclusion or plan, and said, "Oh, I should make a human or something." Like there had to have been a reasoning why all of a sudden humans existed, right? They was like, I'm just gonna pop a few humans out, and I'm gonna give them everything they want, and because of what they did, now we're here. But like, there's got to be an end game.
No, I mean, I wouldn't know as far as like what's the purpose, right? Because God doesn't need us; we need Him. Right? Because He doesn't need us for anything. That's why they explain like He's all loving because He has the Son and He has the Holy Spirit, which love each other. So that it's not like He needs something to love because He already had that.
You don't think there could be multiple gods?
No.
Like, just like, you know how we're His children? If there's other gods with children as well? And this is just a cycle where gods have children?
No, I would say that's not God, that's something else. Because God is a unique thing. If multiple people share that and have different things, it just wouldn't make sense.
Because I'm like, okay, everyone is God's child. That's how it's labeled, right? We're all God's kids. So just like humans have kids.
Yeah, and I think when you look at it from that perspective, it changes everything. Because it's like when people say like, I wonder if God hates me or everything, stuff like that, I always view it in the relationship of He was your dad. You know, it's like your dad, if you had a son and he was out here robbing and everything, you would hate it. You'd be like, what the hell are you doing? You're out here doing stupid shit and like Like, what are you doing? But you will still love him. You will still love him because you're like, that's my son, regardless. You know, and especially if you have one that's like, well, I'm trying. Like I'm like, I'm still messing up, but I'm trying. He will recognize that. But it's also like, you know, the thing of you said, like, you have to let a child experiment, like, and break that glass if he wants to and cut himself. Like that, it would be the same thing. God has to let you learn. So that's why he's not full protection mode, whatever.
Have you seen like the futuristic? Like it's not like, I think it's just a concept right now of futuristic prisons and what they plan on. It's like you're basically like in a cryopod or some shit like that, if that's what that's called, where you're in there for few minutes, but in reality, in your brain, you're in there for like 20 years. And like,
so what? It's just to skip
like,
the time period, but yeah. So
there you're plugged into a computer.
So what's the punishment then? You just age?
You just no, you don't age. You don't age because you only spend 10 minutes in jail in real life. But in reality, in your brain, it feels like you were there for 20 years. And they plug you into a machine, and they, through like electro fucking frequency, whatever the fuck, Elon Musk style shit,
yeah.
They make you relive. They like, what's it called when they?
That sounds like manipulation.
What's it called when they freaking like when you go into prison and you come out?
Rehabilitate?
Yeah, they do that. They do that shit to you
with a program. Or
with
something?
a program, and like,
but I think,
and
like,
it programs you to like, not programs, but it makes you relive. Like if you killed somebody or raped them and all that shit, it'll make you live what you did to the person through their eyes somehow. And because they say that the only way people that they've learned that people that come out of prison that are like, they
do horrible shit.
They do horrible shit that they actually end up regret it. They regret it. A lot of times, the only times you get better and you become a positive person in society, when you come out and you actually regret and you don't do no more crime, that type of shit. It's only the people who actually regret what they did. The people who don't regret what they did, they'll come out and they'll do this shit again. So they say that a lot of times, somehow there's a video for it. There's like a clip, like a 30-second clip.
What would it be called?
Just put like futuristic prisons, cryopod or something. Cryopod or something with cryopod and futuristic prisons.
I mean, I think that's hella interesting because I never thought about that. Like, if they can, it sounds good because it's like, okay, if somebody committed a crime like a kid, it would eliminate the thing of like, they just ruin their whole life.
Yeah.
But, and it's crazy because if it's only 10 minutes, yet it's 20 years. But that was, every time I think about that, that seems like that's going to be extremely mind intensive. And who knows, you don't go crazy.
Yeah.
By the end of that.
It was just like a 30-second clip. Can you go to shorts? Go to shorts. Freaking sluts.
What the heck?
Yeah, it was just like a 30-second clip. But it was on TikTok though. I mean, sure, those first ones are it, but it's 6 minutes long. That's too long.
I mean, I think that would be, I don't know if that would be the right move, but it seems it seems like it could be a step in the right direction. But every time you're using software or something, it seems like they will, what if they start implementing certain things in there to brainwash you? The government does.
Yeah. Because if you really think about it, it's all about money. And if
It seems like that's too much power. Like I feel like I have changed my mind on Elon's chip. You know, I felt like maybe back then I was like, maybe I'd get it. Now I feel like, nah, I don't think I would. Because it's like once it's in there, it's in there. And yeah, they say you can get it removed and everything, but to get the next version and stuff. But it's like, it just seems like a certain part of my brain or my whole brain is now accessible. And if it's like, if it gets to the point where they could read my thoughts and we have the thought police and shit.
I know everybody would go to jail though.
No, but it's crazy because you can't think anything no more.
Yeah, just if your ideas are no longer yours, that's scary. Because like, let's say somebody can download that song that you have, boom, 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 copyright that fucker, put it out, and it's no longer yours. If somebody can rob your idea, you just thought of something tight, and yet
they just take it from you.
They just take that shit
and
from
you don't even know it.
No, don't even know. And it's just like that right there is like, what the fuck? You can no longer be your only place that's actually private, that's only yours. There is inside your brain.
Oh, yeah.
That shit done. There is. Yeah, right now. Right now you got full only you access. Nobody is allowed in. There's no way somebody can take that from you. Like to go into your mind until the fucking Elon Musk boy goes in there.
That's why I think I'm like, I don't know if I could trust that.
And then
it sounds good.
Yeah, your thoughts.
It sounds super good as far as like being able to text you in my head.
Yeah, convenient.
It seems convenient, yeah, but it seems like I mean I'd rather just stick to my phone.
Yeah, what do you?
Because it's like the only thing is like you can get left behind, where everybody's more enhanced than you. But by then I'd be like I'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
So it's like I just don't feel like that's way too much control. If they want to, what if they put a little bit more electricity in that boy? And then they mess me up for life.
Yeah, and then your does hard 24/7.
And you can't stop it.
Yeah.
You're going to chop that boy off. That's it. What's he going to do?
Yeah, I never really put much thought about privacy. And like now that I think about my head, it's as private as it can get. Like any dark secret that anyone might have,
it's exposed.
You can no longer hide it because now the internet has access. If you think about it and accidentally upload it.
Imagine if you can access somebody's brain like a website. You know, like say, you know some information, but let's stick to it like it's like a phone, right? You have a passcode and everything, but you know some information that I need, but you're sleeping. And yet I can just access your brain with the code.
Oh, yeah.
And now I'm in your brain and I know that we have an appointment tomorrow at 6 and that we have to do all this, and this.
Oh, yeah.
And we can share information like that.
Even though I'm sleeping.
And then you try to open up a file and it has a password. Like, no, you can't get in here.
Yeah, that's weird. Just the thought of that's weird. To have access. You have access to this much of my brain.
Imagine that. I mean, like, it seems like hella tight just on tech because I think I like technology. I always likes technology, always interested me. Like, imagine if I had a chip and you had a chip. And say, I'm on an airplane and you're at home playing a video game. And like, what if I can switch my view to your view? To where I'm not longer seeing the airplane. I'm seeing you play the game through your eyes. Or you're watching a movie and I can access that. I can access your eyes and it's almost like projected onto mine. And I'm watching a movie at my home.
Oh, and you're fully synchronized.
In reality,
huh?
Yeah, but in reality, I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah.
But in reality, I'm in the airplane.
You're full synchronized, watching, hearing, and while I'm snacking, you're tasting that shit.
Imagine.
That's crazy. Your stomach's getting full and everything.
Or thinks it's getting full.
Yeah.
But I think like once it gets that far, I think people will find evil shit to do with that. That's the first thing I think. I'm like,
yes, because humans there's no stopping them. These fuckers, every time they have a new idea for like technology comes out that allows them to do something crazy,
they always figure out how to manipulate it.
Yeah, we're gonna do this shit, especially when it comes to money too.
Because it's like when you have access to, like you said, make them relive it. What if people for war start using that to torture people? And watch them to get their families
and they're gonna do
over and over and over and over and over forever.
Yeah.
And they don't stop it.
And it's 20 years of just seeing your family killed, and it's only been 2
And
minutes.
every time, you know how the video games were like, you try to stop it and you can't, and then it just respawns and you do it again. And you keep trying to stop it. And every time you keep trying to think, your brain makes you think that you can save them, when in reality, you can't.
Yeah, I think shit like that is going to end up like I think shit like that is going to cause like the world to end. Because technology is going to get so crazy. It's going to be so easy to do destructive shit.
But I think, we rely that most people are good, and most people will use technology for the good parts.
But it's like people are scared to relinquish power. So as soon as whoever gets it first and see that they get the upper hand, it's war shit. Like war never changes.
What if you could manipulate a soldier into the perfect soldier? Like he's scared of everything. Yeah, you get access to his brain and program him.
They're gonna do that already.
So where it eliminates fear, you're hella sharp.
Yeah, they're probably they're probably doing tests right now on just regular soldiers, to enhance them either mentally, to enhance them physically, to enhance them sexually, like all kinds of shit.
Oh, damn. For the breaks or what?
Yeah. So like whenever they hit out,
whenever they're in the trenches, and they got 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's benefits. Even I think eventually too is gonna be all robots. Like you seen the robot dog, like the Chinese robot dog with a gun.
No,
it's like a dog, but it's got a fucking AK and shit. So it's just like drones. Drones is recent when it comes to war. Well, maybe not that recent because the U.S. probably had them for a while, but they've only been
utilized by everybody for a certain decade or something.
Yeah, like within the last 10 years, have drones started being big fucking players when it comes to
the
battlefield, taking out tanks and shit. So okay, drones like that now, that's not gonna go away. That's just a solidified thing now. And the next thing is gonna be underwater drones. Fucking, there's unmanned submarines too and shit. Nuclear submarines that are completely unmanned. There's gonna be same shit for helicopters, and then eventually it's gonna be fucking robot, a bunch of robots with guns.
That's the next step. You think the next step will there ever be a better weapon than a gun?
Human? Oh.
30 years from now, will they be shooting each other with lasers? But it's still a gun in a way, huh?
Yeah.
But I'm saying, is there the next advancement? Well, it was always, I guess it was the same because people use arrows. There's a projectile.
So yeah, when it's just more efficient with guns.
Or lasers. Or some type of nuclear weapon that can carry in your hand. That throws gas and shit.
Well, I think I don't know. I don't know what would be the next evolution of a the gun, like a projectile. Or lasers seem more fantasy than realism.
Is this what you were talking about?
A scientist is working to make this happen. Let me explain. Cognify, developed by Hashim Al-Galahi, is a futuristic approach to criminal rehabilitation that combines AI with neuroscience. The technology involves implanting artificial memories directly into a prisoner's brain, making them experience their crimes from the victim's perspective. The rehabilitation session lasts for several minutes but feels like years to the criminal due to the altered perception of time within their mind. This intense experience aims to induce emotional states like remorse or regret, which some individuals may not produce on their own. Supporters of Cognify say it has the potential to revolutionize the criminal justice system by shifting the focus from punishment to rehabilitation, treating the people as patients instead of prisoners. They believe this method will lower the recidivism rate for prisoners and, quote, could enable them to reintegrate into society sooner and contribute to the workforce. While the potential benefits of Cognify are significant, the technology also raises several ethical concerns, including issues of consent, the potential for misuse, and the long-term psychological impacts on the individual. Many social media users have already drawn parallels to Clockwork Orange or Black Mirror episode. What do you think about this method of prison reform?
I think
let us know in the comments.
I think too, this can just be a technology that never comes to light. I think that we always hear technologies all the time of shit that's gonna happen and never happens. So
I'm sure this is something like this is going to happen eventually, but it might not be a mass-produced, like, accepted thing, but as the government will have access to it, and they'd be able to use it the way they want to.
Yeah, because it's like, how is this working? Through waves or what? What is that? Is it attached to your Neuralink or what?
I don't fucking know.
They have to install Neuralink first?
They're going to have to install something. Because that's just... probably during and after. Without consent.
Dang.
That's the best type. What the? You're free. What the?
I was going to say in your brain hole. The hole they make it straight to brain. Like, Thank you for listening to the AB podcast. You can follow us in the links below. All our social medias are linked there. If you want to buy some merch, the merch that we're usually wearing in the podcast, you can buy it as well. The link will be below.